Hello everyone, and welcome back again to Applied Library. A place where ideas are not just read, but experienced. Where books are not just information, but transformation. And today we enter a space where science meets the invisible, where biology meets belief, and where the limits of what we think is possible begin to dissolve. Today's episode is inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural. It is one of his most popular and advanced books, blending neuroscience, epigenetics, meditation, and spirituality into a single framework. A book that doesn't sit comfortably in one category. It is not just neuroscience, not just meditation, not just psychology, not just spirituality, but something in between. A bridge between disciplines. A conversation between the measurable and the mysterious. And maybe that is its greatest value. Because most books give you one lens. This one gives you many. There are books that inform you. There are books that inspire you. And then there are books that attempt to rewire how you see reality itself. This is one of them. What makes this work unique is not just what it says, but how it brings together multiple fields into one cohesive idea. It draws from neuroscience to explain how the brain changes, epigenetics to show how genes respond to environment and thought, psychology to understand behavior and conditioning, meditation as a tool for transformation, and spirituality to explore the unseen dimensions of human experience. Individually, each of these fields tells a part of the story, but together they begin to suggest something deeper. That the human being is not fixed, not limited, not defined by the past, but capable of change at levels we rarely explore. Most people believe they are living their lives, but in truth they are remembering them. Your thoughts are often the same thoughts you had yesterday. Your reactions are often the same reactions and you've always had. Your emotions follow familiar patterns. And over time, this repetition becomes identity. You don't just think certain thoughts. You become the person who thinks them. And here's where neuroscience enters the conversation. Every thought you think strengthens a neural pathway. Every repeated emotion conditions your body. So eventually, your mind and your body become programmed. And once that happens, your future starts to look like your past. One of the most powerful ideas in the book is this: your body becomes the mind. At first, this sounds abstract. But when you look closely, it becomes very real. If you feel stress every day, your body memorizes stress. If you feel frustration, your body expects it. So even when nothing is wrong, your body looks for reasons to feel the same way. This is where psychology meets biology. Because now, you are not just thinking the same thoughts. You are feeling the same identity. And this creates a loop. Thought, emotion, behavior, reinforcement. Breaking this loop is the beginning of transformation. Most people live in survival, not because they are in danger, but because their body believes they are. Survival is driven by stress, and stress focuses your attention on three things: the body, the environment, and time. You become hyper-aware of problems. You react quickly. You think short-term. And in that state, there is no space for creativity. Because creation requires openness, presence, and energy. So the shift is not just mental. It is physiological. You must move from survival to creation. This is where the book becomes practical. Meditation is not presented as relaxation, but as a tool. A method, a process, a way to observe your thoughts, without becoming them. At first, you sit and you notice how restless the mind is. Thoughts arise pulling you into the past or pushing you into the future. But slowly something changes. You begin to see that you are not your thoughts. And in that realization, you gain distance from habits, from reactions, from identity. And in that space, you begin to create something new. Now we enter neuroplasticity. The brain is not fixed. It changes based on experience. But here's the key insight. Experience does not have to be physical. You can create internal experiences through thought and imagination. When you visualize a new future clearly and repeatedly, your brain begins to respond. New neural connections form. Old ones weaken. And slowly your thinking changes. But visualization alone is not enough, because the body still remembers the past. So you must combine thought with emotion. Feel the future before it happens. Gratitude, joy, freedom. Not as a reaction, but as a choice. This is one of the most challenging parts, because your body will resist. It will say, "This doesn't feel like you." And in a way, it's right. You are stepping outside of your conditioned self. But if you persist, if you stay with the new emotion long enough, something shifts. The body begins to learn. It starts to accept a new baseline. And this is where epigenetics enters. Because your internal state signals your genes. Changing your environment internally can change how your body expresses itself. This is where science and possibility begin to overlap. Everything familiar exists in the known. Your habits, your identity, your past. But everything new exists in the unknown. And this is where most people hesitate. Because the unknown feels uncertain. But it is also where creation happens. To step into the unknown is to let go of who you have been, without knowing exactly who you will become. And that requires a different kind of courage. Not force, but trust. The book is not just theory. It offers tools, simple but powerful. 1. Daily meditation practice. Sit. Observe. Detach. Train your awareness. 2. Mental rehearsal. Visualize your future self. Clearly. Consistently. 3. Elevated emotions. Practice feeling before receiving. Gratitude without reason. Peace without conditions. 4. Interrupting patterns. Notice your reactions. Pause. Choose differently, even in small moments. 5. Consistency. Not intensity, but repetition, because transformation is built over time. At its core, this book is not about becoming supernatural. It is about becoming more aware, more intentional, more aligned. It suggests that what we call extraordinary may simply be untrained potential. That the human mind is more powerful than we have been taught. And that change is not reserved for a few, but available to anyone willing to do the work. So perhaps the question is not, is this possible? But rather, am I willing to explore it? To observe my thoughts? To change my emotions? To sit in stillness? And to step into the unknown? Because transformation does not happen all at once. It happens in small shifts. A new thought. A new feeling. A new choice. Repeated. Until it becomes who you are. Thank you for spending this time with Applied Library. If something in this episode resonated with you, Take a moment today to pause, to observe, and to choose one small change. Because change doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins in a single moment of awareness. And that moment is always available. If this episode sparked new reflections for you, or if you've read the book, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else see the ideas from a new angle. And if you enjoy exploring powerful books and life-changing ideas like this one, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss future episodes. Until next time, keep learning, keep reflecting, and keep applying the wisdom you discover. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of Applied Library.